upside down, beautiful.
It's been a few days since I've been out. It's time to get out on the road again. It's going to be pretty busy because it's Canadian Thanksgiving here in Canada. This week is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to try out a new mic. And instead of my usual storytelling, I am going to simply have a little bit of a free flow consciousness sort of thing going on here. But like I said, I'm really excited. This is a long weekend here in Canada, and it's when we give thanks. We celebrate all the wonderful things to be thankful for in this country. And I just want to talk about that a little bit, actually. I don't know how far I'll be going, because like I said, it's usually pretty busy and I usually avoid holidays, but I might just potter around, check out some neighborhoods, see what's going on. This road here is usually pretty in the fall. I ran here today. Actually, my daughter and I ran 15 kilometers. We had to run because we're training for some races. But one thing that she has taught me is that we didn't have to run. We are privileged. It is a privilege to be able to run. We were able. And that reframing has really helped me in so many ways. You know, we're lucky. We're allowed to. We can. I live in a country where I can go out my front door and go for a run without fear. So very, very privileged in that way. But so kind of to begin with, I'd like to talk about the 5 things that I truly am thankful for. And I'm just going to putter around, I think, in the neighborhood for now. The first thing I have to talk about is family. I am so grateful. I have a fantastic family. I have my dad still alive. I have 2 older brothers, and I have 3 children and 5 grandchildren with 2 bonus grandchildren. So, really, really fortunate. And on our run today, my daughter and I were talking about, what happens when I get old. Not that I'm not old already, but she was talking a little bit about, see how pretty the trees are. They're just starting to go red. Talking a little bit about what happens when, maybe I cannot live independently anymore. And, I have to give her credit. She is willing and able to step up to the plate. And I said to her, well, what if I'm difficult, And she said, I'm used to dealing with difficult people. She was a personal support worker in a home for years. And she said to me, I want to do everything I can to keep you out of a home as long as possible. So, that's pretty fortunate. I'm pretty fortunate. I have great brothers, great sister-in-law, nieces and nephew, just wonderful people in my life. So that is the 5th thing that I'm grateful for. Now the 4th thing, so I'm going to kind of go from 5 up to 1. But the 4th thing, of course, is friends. And I have the best friends. I wish I could see them more. They're busy, I'm busy. A lot of them are married with families. So they have less disposable time, I guess, if you want to call it that, than I do. I kind of have a very flexible job. And maybe I can rearrange my schedule more than most people. So, but I really do. I have some wonderful ride or dies. And tomorrow I'm hoping to get out to Burlington to see my friend Karen. Known her, I don't know how many years now, but a lot, like over 15 for sure. And we started by running together. We've run, I think, 2 or 3 marathons together. And I'm really excited to go and see her, but definitely a ride or die. So besides friends and family, there is another group I want to give a shout out to, something I'm very thankful for, and that is good neighbors. So I live in a building, and I have to tell you, I feel very safe there. It's a secure building. Only people that live there have keys, etc. But I have the most fantastic neighbors. I know that if I were in trouble or I needed something, there's a half dozen people I could reach out to. So that counts for something. That's very, very, very fortunate that I have that. And then going up to number 3, I would say access to medical care. Yesterday I went up to the hospital for just a routine mammogram. Not fun, but I have access to it. It's a service I have. I don't have to pay out of pocket for it. I live in a country with free Medicare. I appreciate that. Oh, look, there's people in school still. So, I truly, truly am thankful for that. And then number 2, all of you who bother to take the time to comment, listen, leave a like, you don't have to, and I'm sure sometimes it's boring, but I appreciate you taking an interest in my journey. I have no idea where I am, by the way. I've never been back here, but this looks fun. It means a lot because I realize that sometimes life is busy. Go ahead. Life is busy and you don't have to. There's no reason that you have to. And I appreciate that. And I want to shout out to a few people. I forget his handle, sorry, but I'll put it up on the screen. I don't know, it was about 13 months I didn't post at all. Life got busy, I got involved in a lot of things, and just didn't post. But I had one of my subscribers reach out to me and ask if I was okay. Said, I'm worried about you, you haven't posted for a long time, are you okay? I mean, how great is that? I mean, that made me feel very seen. So thank you very, very much. And then a couple others that I want to shout out to. One is Firefighter, FYREFIGHTER. A guy down in Virginia. He's down there with his lovely wife and dog. And you should check out his channel if you haven't yet. He does a lot of cool stuff. And, he's always been there, shown an interest. And I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. I have no idea where I'm going, but this is fun. As long as I get home. So, thank you. It means so much, and I appreciate. Oh, also one more. I don't know what his handle is, but I'm gonna shout out to James, who lives in Baltimore, because there's another one who has shown a lot of support, and I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. He's a writer. You should check out some of his books. He's written a book about relativity. You'd have to be a certain type of person to want to read it, probably not for the general public, but if you have an interest in it. And he also wrote something that is more for general public, and that I believe is called Crush. I'm going to have to look it up, but it's about gravity. So interesting stuff. And then I want to come to the number one thing that I appreciate and are thankful for this weekend. Oh, I know where I am. I used to live down here. Anyway, the number one thing that I am grateful for is freedom. Especially as a woman. I am sitting here on a motorcycle, and I'm allowed to. I have discovered there is gender bias. I have experienced it firsthand, and I have some funny stories about that. Well, I think they're kind of funny. I've been on my own now for 3 years, and I've noticed it for the first time kind of in my life. Okay, what's going on here? So anyway, I remember one of the first times it kind of hit me is I was getting an oil change at one of those, drive-through oil changer places. I won't name them, although I should, but I won't. Anyway, it was like Doogie Howser was servicing me, bless him, probably some college student in the town where I happened to be at the time. All right, what are you doing? I'm annoyed. Okay, I'm gonna go by. Ooh, that was a big noise. Anyway, so he was trying to upsell, which he's supposed to do, and I get it, but he wanted to change my transmission fluid. I did not want him to change my transmission fluid. I have a mechanic whom I trust. Shout out to Roberts, by the way. And I said, no, thank you. But it's what he did next. And I know that he was probably coming from a place of trying to explain things to me. However, it came off as quite condescending, and I don't think it would have happened if I were a man or if I was with a man. So he looked at me and he said, well, transmissions are kind of important. They make the car go forward and backwards. I am not mechanically inclined, nor do I claim to know what I'm doing in that arena. However, I do have, at the age of 58, the general knowledge that a transmission will make a vehicle go forward and backwards. I've had to change a few in vehicles I've owned, so, and they're expensive. Anyway, any hoosers, I was polite and continued to say no, thank you. But I thought, that wouldn't have happened if I were a guy.
Sorry to interrupt the regularly scheduled programming. I just wanted to add that I told my dad the transmission story, and he said, "What did the guy say when he came to?"
And I've also experienced it going into various motorcycle dealerships. One time I was looking at a particular bike and nobody was helping me, so I asked a guy, can you help me? He said, no, but I'll get you somebody who can. Because I had a specific question about, can you lower the suspension on a particular bike? So I thought, this is great, you're going to get someone. And I thought it was even better because, you know what? He came back, a woman showed up. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This lady's going to help me. And I asked her the question, and then she said, oh, I have no idea. I'm an administrative assistant. So he went and got an administrative assistant. So that kind of put me off a little bit. And I think that would not have happened if I was a guy. But I have a few other examples. But nothing, nothing that really hurts my rights. I'm getting all kinds of construction today. So, because I deal with women in many, many different countries across the world in my job. And I have discovered how fortunate I am. There are countries where women are not allowed to go to school past the age of 12. There are countries where girls aren't allowed to go to a park. There are countries where a girl has to hide from taking taekwondo classes and has to do it secretly so that they won't be caught. There are girls that if they're not wearing the exact right thing, they will be arrested. There are girls who cannot walk outside alone. There are girls who are not allowed to grow up and work. There are girls smart enough to be doctors, lawyers, and researchers who aren't allowed to study that. There are girls who have to stay at home. And you know what? This is a beautiful fall day, and I'm allowed to be on my motorcycle. Oh my gosh. There are girls that aren't allowed to ride motorcycles. There are girls that aren't allowed to ride bicycles. I'm telling you, the world is an interesting place, and I don't understand it. I don't understand it. So, I was talking with, I'm just going to close my helmet. I don't know if that's going to make a difference to the recording here. But I was talking with someone, I don't know, a few months ago, and it was a guy, and he said something like, "Oh, you don't strike me as a feminist." And I think he actually said crazy feminist. And I said, "Well, actually, I kind of think I am." And his response is, "Well, you're not angry and you don't seem to hate men." And he's right. I am not angry and I don't hate men. I have some amazing men friends. My father, my brother, there are men who have just inspired me because they're such good people. And I said that to him, and he said, "Well, it's not really feminism. You're just looking for basic human rights for all humans." And I said, "Isn't that what feminism is? That we want basic human rights for everybody? And it doesn't mean that I have to be mad at men or hate men or, why can't we get away from that and just try to have discussions?" I have actually spoken to some amazingly good men who want to be better, or I don't think better is the right word. They want to learn. They grew up in a certain era where the system and society put certain pressures on them, and I feel bad because it's not fair. And, it's not right. And they're facing, I think everybody in any subgroup is facing challenges. So instead of getting angry or fight, I think we need to come together and discuss it. I don't hate men. I don't hate all men. I'm not a fan, I'm not going to lie, I'm not a fan of the Taliban, and I'm not a fan of some of the Christian nationalists because I don't feel that they are giving the proper rights to women. And I think it's fair to, oh, look, hello. I think it's fair to say and stand up. If you haven't had a chance to watch the recent ItchyBoots episodes, please go over to her channel because she goes into some of the countries where rights are not allowed, and she actually drives through Afghanistan and talks to quite a few of the Taliban. I want you to have a look. Look at the country, look at the landscape, look at the people. They're beautiful. They're talking to her. They are so incredibly gracious. But just imagine, I'm so fortunate to be born here in Canada. Look at the leaves. They're just starting to turn. In a country where I have the rights to do what I want, to come and go, to be. And it's incredible. And this holiday weekend, Thanksgiving, I want to give thanks. I want to give thanks.
My beautiful lesson in all of this is to let gratitude win. Drop a comment of something you're grateful for. If you'd like to follow my journey, please consider subscribing to my channel. But most importantly, remember that life is beautiful even when it's upside down.